Друзья, всем привет! Коротенькое видео, расскажу немножко вкратце свои новости. Кто читает мой Телеграмм, те уже, наверное, в курсе, что я, я оплавилась на позицию. Я недавно оплавилась на позицию второго оператора. У меня было интервью. Друзья, всем привет! Кто следит за моим Телеграммом, те уже, наверное, знают, что недавно я оплавилась на позицию второго оператора. И у меня было интервью, можно сказать, первое, ну так и есть, первое в канадское интервью, и которое я прошла успешно. Вот, и сейчас прохожу тренинг на второго оператора Шуберта. Шуберт, наверное, вам ничего не говорит, как и мне до этого, это такая упаковочная машина. Вот, и что я хотела сказать, ну, к интервью была не готова, я заплавилась, как бы понимаю, что еще сидеть год паковать конфеты как-то это не очень интересно, и как бы хотелось бы немножко хотя бы напрягать голову, да, что-то думать, и я переживала, что смена моей позиции может как-то отразиться на иммиграционном процессе, так как я главный аппликант. Поэтому я поинтересовалась изначально у нашего HR-менеджера, и мы решили, что если я пройду успешное интервью, мы узнаем у офицеров, как это может повлиять на мою аппликацию. Если нет, я могу оплатить, то я тогда, в принципе, могу получать эту должность, ну, если пройду интервью. Вот, вкратце интервью, да, я была к нему не готова, я заполнила просто анкету, меня среди рабочего процесса просто попросили подойти через неделю, наверное, спустя пройти интервью с супервайзером. Помню, у меня как раз был ланч, я вышла с телефона, начала переводить элементарные какие-то фразы, там, слабые стороны и все такое, потому что была абсолютно не готова. Ну, конечно, ничего не успела запомнить. Вот, поэтому там было стандартное интервью канадском, то есть стандартные относительно вопросы. В конце был математический тест и тест на знание английского языка, чтобы понимать, что как бы ты понимаешь суть, элементарный базовый английский у тебя есть, чтобы ничего не перепутать. Математический тест, потому что оператор второй делает разные просчеты. Это в основном бумажная работа. Вот. В общем, прошла тест успешно. Еще можете меня поздравить. И мне приятно, так как были кандидаты канадцы, то есть. И это вдвойне приятно, что я получила без опыта работы, соответственно, без знания английского языка эту должность. И сейчас прохожу тренинг. Вот. И в связи с этим у меня появилась идея записать видео о том, как правильно составить CV, как пройти вообще интервью. Но я не владею соответственным опытом, чтобы делиться информацией, поэтому записала для вас видео от работника, который работает в ресерч-центре, и в Multicultural Association была как раз сессия, и записала для вас видео, где он детально, подробно делится основными секретами, так сказать, как пройти собеседование и правильно составить резюме для канадских работодателей. Надеюсь, это видео вам будет полезным, понравится. Если же... Ну, в любом случае, это хорошая практика листенинга, да, потому что это native speaker. Так что, если вам понравился такой формат видео, пишите об этом, буду стараться снимать и делиться полезной информацией. Все. Видео будет с двух частей. Первая часть — это как составить правильное резюме, и вторая часть — как пройти собеседование. Видео немножко затянулось, то есть длинное. Надеюсь, у вас хватит терпения и сил досмотреть его до конца. Так что приятного просмотра. Всем удачи и до новых встреч. Пока.
Going on websites, looking at indeed.ca, nbjobs.ca and things, you can old school look in the newspaper and see what jobs are posted. At the workroom office at the Chocolate Museum, we have a bulletin board with all the latest job postings that are up. But often, it's hearing about a job. Many times, the jobs people get are because somebody said, "Oh, I heard about this job, it would be perfect for you." Right? That's what happens these days, many times. And you have to be ready when you hear about it. And that's why your resume needs to be on your phone or on a computer ready to be sent. And you say, "Oh, I just heard about this. Boom, I can apply.
Just a second.
I can do it right away and I can jump on this opportunity that's ready for me." Okay? So please have a resume either on your phone or on a piece of technology that if you heard about something at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you've applied for it. right? You're ready to go in case you hear about a good job that would suit you, would fit you. Okay? So there's a whole bunch of things that go into job search. But the first thing that we're going to talk about is the actual document of a resume. Okay? So I'm sure you're familiar with the idea of what a resume is. It's a piece of paper that you use to get yourself, here's who I am, here's my job experience, here's my education, this will get me noticed. Okay, so it's an advertisement. But some resumes get thrown in the garbage. Why? Because they don't have what the people who are employers are looking for. So I want to talk to you today about making sure that what you've got is highlighting your strong skills and make sure that you're aware of the things that companies are going to throw things away and not give you a chance about, right? So if you think of a resume, it's an advertisement. You are selling yourself. You are never ever going to lie on a resume, but you are always pointing out the best positive things about you. What you're good at, all the experiences you've had, all the things that would make you somebody that an employer would say, oh, I'd love to spend the day with them. I would pay them money to come work with me, right? So you are pointing out everything positive on a resume. That's what you are doing. You don't lie, because it will trip you up. You will get found out. And I have lots of people that I've seen that they have claimed to do something on a resume that no, they have not done it. And eventually they will get found out, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to be truthful, but you have to always show the good, positive things that you've accomplished so far in your life, okay? So there's different parts to a resume, and I'm going to tell you that companies do want it to look pretty similar to everybody else's. This is called a template, and that means that a professional person knows, oh, I know where to look for the work experience. I know where to look for the education, right? I know where to look for everything. They want to be able to quickly look at the page and be able to find everything. But all the words that you type into it are in your own words, okay? So yes, I want it to look like everybody else's, but I want the words to be your own original words of what you are saying to say, oh, I'm good at this. I have experience with this. I'm really strong at this, okay? And it's got to be in your own language so that if I call you in for a job interview and I start talking to you, I say, yes, this is the person that wrote this resume because they speak in the same language. They're telling me the same things. So it's got to be your words that you say on a resume, okay? Mm-hmm. So we break a resume down into 5 parts. And the very top part is really straightforward and easy. It's your contact information. And if you look, yep, everybody's got the page, yes. Right? Good. Oh, you guys are good. So this top little line here is your contact information. Your name is always the biggest thing and the first thing we see. Okay? Mm-hmm. Never, ever, ever do colors. Do not decorate your resume. No pinks, no blues, no yellows. Okay? Black and white. It has to be able to be photocopied onto an old, bad photocopier, right? So black and white, okay? So your name goes first. They do want your street address, where you live. And I have had several adults say to me, well, why do they need to know where I live? Well, there's all sorts of reasons, and some of them we don't even think about. There are companies now who are trying their best to be more ecologically friendly, and they are encouraging their employees carpool and drive to work together. And some of the aquaculture companies like Cook's and Connors Brothers, they now send buses around to get people to take them to their shifts. So they do want to know where your street address is. And then you can put as many phone numbers as you need to put on. Some people's lives are complicated. Some people live in a couple of different spots or are taking care of family people, or there could be, separations and things like this. You put as many phone numbers as you need to on there, and please have an email address. Does everybody have an email address?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay. Now, there are things that will make hiring people look at an email address and not take you seriously. There are people who make up funny email names. I had a woman the other day, she was about 40, and her email address was hotsoccermom at gmail.com. And I said, you can't use that. And she said, I've always said, that's my email address. And I'm like, no, you cannot send that on your resume. You have to get an email address that is as close to your name as you can. And sometimes it's hard to get, your name at, Gmail or Hotmail or whatever. But as close to it as you can, like your first initial and your last name, or your name and the number 1 or 2 or whatever, as close to your name as you can. So make sure you look at what your email address is and say, does this look professional? Yes, it looks professional. It's okay to send on there, okay? And I know it sounds funny, but I have a whole bunch of people I work with that have ridiculous email addresses, and a company won't take them seriously. They say, oh, well, this person's not very professional, right? So it's a little thing, but it matters, okay? Then below that, you have the most important part of the resume, and that's your objective and then your skills and qualifications. And sometimes that is as far as they read. And if they don't see what they like by here, they stop reading. This is where you really sell yourself, okay? So objective is always one sentence. I am looking to work in this industry. I want a job in this industry. A very straightforward one sentence. What is my objective? My objective is to work in, it could be forestry, or it could be in medicine, or whatever it is, right? Whatever you are, this is what I want to work in. This is the industry I want to work in. That's your objective, okay? Then below that is your skills and qualifications. This is the most important part. This is, how do you answer the question, why should I hire you instead of somebody else?
Understand.
This is why you should hire me instead of somebody else, because I can do this. And this is really important to be in your own words. And it's really important that you balance out your work experience, your skills, hobbies, things you might do at home, things that you're really good at, and your education. All those things that you can bring to the table. So I would say, have any of you ever worked at the same job for more than 7 years? Anybody?
Yes, in Ukraine, yes.
You worked for more than 7 years at the same job?
Yes.
Then that goes up here. You would say 7+ years experience
In one place,
at this, okay? That matters, that counts. Does anybody do something at home that takes a lot of skill to do? Does anybody, do work with machines or work with arts and crafts, or, what do you do at home? Those sort of things matter. Okay?
Yes.
Then I've also given you, if you open to this third page, I've given you a whole page of what we call soft skills. And you can also use these on the skills part. Okay? Yep, these right here. And these are the big broad skills that some people have. One of you 4 people are really, really good with seniors or with children. One of you 4 people are really, really good if I say you have to go work alone all day. Yep, I can do that. Somebody might be really good with technology, right? Somebody might be really good at meeting deadlines. If this has to be done by Friday, it's done by Friday, right? There are all sorts of skills. And what I would like you to do is to take like a highlighter or a pencil and say, I'm going to find 5 things on here that's me, that is my skill, right? So I can use a computer to create a presentation. I can greet customers in a friendly and welcoming way. I am able to follow instructions and directions and complete a project or assignment. I can meet deadlines. I can operate a cash register. I can make change. I can communicate well with people of all ages. I can follow the workplace safety rules and guidelines. I pay close attention to details. Right? Everybody has skills, has big, broad skills. And that's where you start to build your resume and say, okay, what am I good at that some other people aren't very good at? What are the things that I can do well? That matters. There are companies that, yes, they have deadlines. So they'd love to hear that, oh yeah, deadlines, no problem. There are companies that maybe at Christmas time, it gets crazy busy. And you say, I work well under pressure. When it gets busy, I'm calm and I just keep doing my job. That's a skill companies are looking for. Or this might be a company that might deal with senior citizens a lot. And you say, I work well with the elderly. I can talk to them. They respond to me. I don't mind working with them, right? There are all sorts of different skills that you might have that somebody else might not have. And that's what you really push on this resume. So you balance it out with work experience. If you've got a degree or a diploma or training like that, you always say it on here, right? Like I would say, I have 3 university degrees. So I would say 3 university degrees, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Music, Bachelor of Education, right? So I would put those up on there so that they would know I have some skills of those things. If you've taken training programs for technology, if you've taken training programs on equipment or machinery, if you've taken food safety, if you've taken workplace safety, first aid, all those things, they all matter. I know that there are several companies in Charlotte County that 1 out of every 3 people they hire has to have first aid. 1 out of every 3 people they hire has to have first aid. So if they look at a resume and you've got first aid, they're going to put your name up near the top of the stack because they have a rule that they have to have so many people on their staff that can have first aid, right? So all those things matter. Does anybody here have women's workplace safety or food safety? Or
Food safety, yeah.
Your food safety,
Yeah, working
right?
along.
So, and then an employer says, oh good, I don't have to send them to do that, right? They've already got it. So those things really do, they make a difference. They help out. Okay, and that's the stuff you highlight there. Then comes work experience. Do not put every job you ever worked on your work experience. I washed dishes for 3 years while I went to university. Do I put that on my resume now? No, it's no longer relevant to my life. But it helped me back then to earn money and to get a better job when I did get out, right?
Yes.
3 or 4 jobs. No more than 3 or 4.
Not a survival job.
Okay? So no more than 3 or 4 jobs. And you don't have to do the 3 most recent. It used to be that they'd always want to see the years and that was important. But now you can say, I'm going to pick the 3 or 4 jobs that were the most important to me. I enjoyed them. I liked doing them. They fit me. They are the kind of jobs I would like to do again, and jobs that I know the boss thought I did very well at, those sort of things. You pick the jobs that you want. If you ever left or quit a job or had a bad experience at a job, you do not have to put it on your resume. You don't. You are highlighting the positives of your life, the positive things that have happened to you. So if you ever had a bad experience, and many people have had bad experiences at work, you do not have to put that as on your resume. You just, nope, ignore it. That's not part of the professional life that I want to tell you about. I want to tell you about these jobs, because these were good jobs that I enjoyed doing, right? I had a woman, I was telling you, I had a woman come in, she had a 7-page resume. And she said, I've done all these jobs. And I said, nobody is going to read this. It's too long. You have to cut it down 2 pages at the most. 1 or 2 pages is all we want for a resume. She said, but I can't cut these. Yes, you have to cut some of these jobs out. You cannot use them all. And you just have to decide which are the jobs that you want people to know that, oh, I'm proud that I put this on my resume. This is a job I did well at. This is something that suits who I am as a person. And I would do this kind of job again. That's what we'd really like to hear. Is, you know, I worked at this, and yeah, I would do this again. That sort of thing. Okay? And I'm assuming that you are all from other countries, right?
Yeah.
It is perfectly reasonable to have jobs in other countries on your resume, for sure. And a good company, like a big company like Irving or something like that, they will contact, and even if it is in another country, and they will talk to them and find out what they thought of you as a worker and those sort of things. So don't have any worries. I had a woman the other day, and she was just from England, which to us isn't a big deal, but she was like, oh, nobody will ever call England and, you know, ask them about the jobs I did. I said, yes, they will. They will call. Or even better, if you could provide an email address for your job that was in another country, that makes it really easy for somebody to just contact them and say, oh, we have this person who's applied here in Canada for a job. Can you tell me a little bit about how they did it at your place, and find out about that. So have no fear about putting jobs from your other countries on here, okay? When you put your job experience, you're going to put who you worked for, you're going to put your job title, what they would have called you professionally, even if it was something simple like clerk or cashier or whatever, or manual laborer or whatever, but you just put the actual job title and who it was that employed you. As much information about the company as you can. Like I say, if you can put an email address there, that's great, or at least a phone number or something there. Okay? And then over there, you're going to see the dates. So rough dates, even just the years that you worked. You don't have to do the exact days or anything like that. And then you see these bullets, and these are the things, the duties that you did on the job. Nobody does just one thing on a job. I have people who work at the Atlantic Superstore, and they say, well, I'm just a cashier, I just ring in sales. And I say, think about it, what else have they asked you to do? And I had one woman, and she went, oh yeah, there was that day where they were short in the stock room, and I had to go out back and I had to unpack boxes and stock the shelves. Okay, that's not just being a cashier then, you had to do inventory and stocking shelves. And then she went, oh yeah, and at Christmas time I had to do a display in the window. I said, see? Nobody does just one thing on a job. You do all sorts of different things.
If I had promotion
Yeah.
in my last job, what should I write for job title?
The highest level that you finished at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's what you put as your job position. But on your duties, you can mention all the things you did at the lower level before you were promoted as well as Okay? All the different things you did for the company. But always put your highest level on the job title that you did. So, does this job experience section make sense to you? It should be very clean, very clear. This is the job I had, and this is what they asked me to do on this job. It no longer has to be in any kind of time order at all. Sometimes people don't work for a whole year because they were taking care of their sick mother. Sometimes people don't work for a whole year because they had children. Sometimes people don't work because they've moved to a different city or even a different country, right? And there's a gap. Good hiring people no longer worry about the gaps because people move in and out of jobs for all sorts of different reasons. And if somebody is a smart hiring person, what they look at is what you've done, not what you didn't do while you didn't work for a year. They look at the things you did do. That's what good hiring people do. Okay? So, below that, we have education. And like you said, this looks really thin here, right? But if you've done a lot of things, then that should take up more space. And that's why your resume sometimes might go into 2 pages. Because you say, well, I've taken this diploma, I've taken this training course. Everything you've ever taken for courses matters. Okay, so...
Driver license too? Like
yes. If it's more than a regular one, so if you could drive like a van or a bus or whatever, yes, on there. Even things that people don't think about, like hunter safety, lifeguard, swimming, they all matter. All this extra training and skills that you have makes people say, oh, wow, they learn. They do this, they want to learn how to do this. If you've ever taken courses for like learning about new computers or new programs or things like that, digital literacy we call it, always put that on there. If you ever get the opportunity through the multicultural or through any jobs that you work at, if you ever see, oh, they're offering a first aid course, please take it. Please, it's really good to have. And if you ever see what's called workplace safety, WHMIS, W-H-M-I-S, that is one that a lot of plants, if you have to work, around equipment, they need you to have that course. But if you already have it, they don't have to send you to get it. And employers go, oh, thank heavens they have the WHMIS. We always give our grade 12 students the year before they graduate the option of taking WHMIS at high school so that they've got it in case they want to go work, in forestry or at a concrete plant or someplace where there's equipment around and they've already got it, and an employer will say, oh, we don't have to send them for that training.
Sorry, can you please write this WHMIS on the workplace?
Yeah. All capital letters. So it's WHMIS training. It's an online safety course. It takes about 3 hours to do on a computer. In my room at the high school, at St. Stephen High School, whenever they hire a new custodian, they always have to have WHMIS. And first day on the job for the new custodians, they come into my room and they sit down in front of the computer for 3 or 4 hours and they do that. Right? So if you already have it, that might make your name go to the top of the list of who they're looking at hiring. Right? So it's a good extra skill to have, especially if you want to work around equipment. It's a safety course for how to deal with machinery, chemicals, big open like a warehouse spaces, being around forklifts, being around tractors, those sort of things. That's what it's really about.
And can you say which letter stand for?
Oh,
I'm
not sure.
you're not sure. Okay.
That's workplace.
Okay.
That's safety.
Okay.
I don't know what the HM is for.
Okay.
I guess we're so used to making acronyms now that sometimes we even lose what they really mean. But it's generally not hard to do this. And at our office at the Ganong Chocolate Museum, we have adults come in all the time and work on their WIMIS. So it's perfectly fine to do. And if you finish it online, you can print out a certificate. And once you've got that certificate, then you can immediately say, I have WIMIS training on your resume under education. Okay?
Okay, question is one more. And
Yeah.
if you have some license or if you have some training on education, but you don't use or you didn't have experience, should you indicate this?
I would still, yes.
Okay.
All the skills that you've taken in training, even if you
Even
haven't,
if you don't have experience.
even if you haven't done them in jobs, you have still learned the concepts behind them. And a company might say, oh, well, they've already taken this course, maybe they haven't worked in this, but they've gotten the idea of the skills.
Or maybe they couldn't have possibility to.
Right. And they might even say, oh, they just need a refresher or something too, right? And that still might make you more interesting than somebody else that applied for the job. Then the very bottom part is volunteer work and references. Okay? If you sit home on the couch 4 days a week, please think about going out in the community and doing a little volunteering for a couple of hours. Volunteer with seniors, volunteer at the food bank, volunteer with animals at the SPCA, something. It looks nice on a resume, and it means, okay, even when I wasn't working, I was out giving to my community. And to a lot of employers, that's one of the things they look at just to see, do they volunteer? Do they do anything? Even if it's something that's only once in a while, like I take part in the Cure for Cancer run, or I take part at Christmas time, I donate to the food bank, and those sort of things. Whatever little things you can do. And some people, their lives are busy and they have family and they don't have many hours that they can do that, or they work a 40-hour week. If you work a 40-hour week, it's hard to find time to do any volunteering. But if you find yourself sitting on the couch for long periods of time, please think about going out and giving a couple of hours to the community, because you can put that on your resume, and for some employers, that's going to move your name up the list because you'd go and do things and give of your time to volunteer. So I know it's at the bottom and I know it doesn't seem like it means much, but I know for a fact that there are companies that's one of the things that they look at. And they say, does this person volunteer at all? Oh, they do. Okay. Well, they've got a little bit of experience and they've got a little bit of what we're looking for. Plus they volunteer. That sounds like our kind of person that we would like to have in our company. And it gives you a chance. Okay? And then there's references. We generally say 3 references. 2 at the least. You have to have at least 2 references. 3 is the best number to have for references. In your case, I would say you need at least 2 from Canada. And then you could have 1 reference that would be back further in your previous place that you lived in. Okay? Mm-hmm. You are looking for people that are somebody that was a former boss or a supervisor. Somebody that could say, yes, they showed up on time, they worked in a positive manner for me, that sort of thing. You are looking at people that taught you skills, teachers, professors, even people that teach you hobby skills, like even guitar teachers or driving instructors or equipment or somebody that taught you courses. Those are good references as well. And then the third reference is allowed to be a family friend or someone that has worked with you, been a colleague, somebody that's been beside you, and they can say, yes, I did the same job as they did every day, and they always did what they said they were going to do. They were always positive with me every day. Those like somebody that worked with you is a good reference as well. So 3 if you can manage, 2 at the least, and 2 from Canada to be local. To have,
Okay,
sir.
so question again.
That's okay.
You said 2 reference from Canada, okay?
Yeah.
So it can be 1 reference from employer, and second can be from colleagues, from
Yes.
colleagues.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's more. Okay, and another question. This reference, it's indicated here available upon request.
Yes.
But should I attach all these 3 pages or upon
In
request?
many cases, I would, if this is trying for a new position, trying for a company you've never been involved with before. It's nice to have the references right away so that they can be checked. Now, some people, their work experience is going to be, I was the head, I owned my own business for 15 years. Well, you don't need any references then. You can say available upon request. But most of us would use a reference or 2 to say, here's someone who will back up the fact that I'm a positive worker, that I am professional, that I treat people with respect. That's what they're really looking for, is this somebody that you would spend the day working with? And that's what they really want to hear. It's about, is this a positive person? And that's what the references are for. In most cases, I would recommend that you have them. And like you say, it doesn't have to be on this page, it can be attached.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you had everything up to your education on one page and then you had references on another page or 2, that's great. And they don't have to really write you a letter or anything. They can just say, yes, they can contact me at this email or this phone number, and I'll talk to somebody. If you sent out your resume to a company, they can contact me, and I will tell them what you were like when you worked for me or when we worked together, that sort of thing. References are really important. If you know someone who does things in the community, is well known, use that name. I had a student the other day and she said, you can't use a relative, but she said, my best friend's dad is the mayor. I said, well, does he know you? And she said, yeah, oh yes, I come over and I have supper there sometimes and things. Can I use him? I said, sure, he's the mayor, use his name. Right? If you know somebody in the community that's well known, sure.
David
use
Lama.
them. Right. I mean,
He sleep.
I'm listening, but
so that's a resume. Now we're going to talk about job interviews. Yep.